Now I think we got everybody.
Good morning, everyone.
Okay, so can we call the meeting to order?
Yes, sir, you may.
All right. Let's start with a pledge allegiance to the flag, shall we? Everybody got a flag? I pledge allegiance
To the flag
The flag,
to the flag of
United
the United
States
States of America,
and to the republic,
Republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty
with
and
liberty
justice for all.
and justice for all.
Thank you, folks. All right. Riddell, do we have any recognitions?
Actually, I did want to show you all something. Let's see if I can put that on here. Just real quick. This is a little something that we are getting for 4 of the 5 help committee members. I don't need one. That's my job to do what I need to do. But because they were volunteers, wanted to make sure that they got recognized. So Dr. Bonnie Villarreal, Chris Gonzalez, Jesse Robles, and Kyle Orgera are each going to get this little trophy, I guess it is. That's just an appreciation for us to show our appreciation for the help program that they participated in. We'll talk more about the help program in just a minute, but they definitely put their time into this deal. So
Fantastic. Yeah, great project.
Yep. That's it for the recognitions. I don't believe there was any public comments that were submitted. And so we can start with consent agenda.
Okay. Go right ahead with the consent agenda, Riddell.
The following items are of a routine and administrative nature. The board has been furnished with background material in each item and/or it has been discussed at a previous meeting. All items will be acted upon by one vote without being discussed separately unless separate discussion of any item is requested by a board member. Items withdrawn from the consent agenda for individual consideration will be heard in their normal sequence after the remainder of the consent agenda has been acted upon. A is consider approval of board minutes for the following meetings: August 25th, 2020, September 1st, 2020, September 15th, 2020, September 29th, 2020. B is consider approval of September 30th financial reports. And then C is consider ratifying action taken by CEO to change a provision in the third agreement with Fox Valley Molding related to the post-performance payments.
I've got a couple of things. So on the August 25th minutes, after we come out of executive session, it says President Boland announced the board has completed executive session. That should be President Zehe, I believe.
We'll go ahead and remove that from the consent agenda and take a separate action on that to do that correction.
Okay. And then I do have a question on our financials, if we're ready to get to that part, or do we?
We'd have to pull it off the consent agenda as well.
Okay.
So we're not going to take action on the August 25th and the September 30th financials. So we need a motion for all the rest.
Make a motion to approve the rest.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion's approved.
Aye. All right, back to 1A, the August 25th, 2020 regular meeting. The minutes should reflect a change in the president to reflect Zehe, not Boland.
Yeah. We want to vote on that now, Alan?
Yeah, we'll just a motion to approve subject to that correction.
So moved.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, Riddell, let's see.
Item B, consider approval of September 30th, 2020 financial reports. There was a question.
Yeah, so my only question, Rodell, is on the, for the 12 months ended September 30th on the revenues. why were our tax revenues and charges for services so much higher than the budget?
They haven't changed the amended budget to reflect the amended budget that we did. I guess it was probably back in August. So these are the old numbers. These are not the amended budget.
Why were, even considering the amended budget, why were taxes so much higher than we first budgeted? Tax revenues?
That was actually the second amendment. The first amendment was right at the onset of the COVID pandemic shutdown. And so we were being very conservative. And so we went from 4 point something to 3 point something in terms of the sales tax revenues. That's where that big number is from.
So our original budget was closer to the 4.7 million. Okay,
Correct.
that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
No more questions.
We're actually up versus last year in terms of revenues, but we're real close to our original projection, which was a 2.5% growth. So.
Okay. All right, no more questions. I move to approve the September 30th, 2020 financial reports.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Say aye.
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 Carries. Financial reports approved.
All right. Now I'm going to share, excuse me, I'm going to share the screen so that we can get Richard on. Richard Mesquias is with TSTC's foundation, and he's got a few things he wants to go over with us. I'll make sure I have it.
Welcome, Richard. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Here it is. Okay. All right, Richard, you are on.
So good morning. Thank you, Rodell and the EDC Board of Directors, Dan, for allowing us to present our progress on the Goal Line Assistance Program. Next slide. So what I want to show you guys is a perspective of our Harlingen residents for the last 3 years. So I'm going to demonstrate the value of TSTC for Harlingen. So the applicants from 2018 to 2020, so this is 3-year period. Harlingen area. So let me define applicants. Applicants is showing an interest. So these are the population out of Harlingen that showed an interest in TSTC. So 5,800 out of 23,000 for that period showed an interest in TSTC. So 25%, which is really a large number when you look at the 23,000. And we consider the 23,000 to be either all of Texas, it could be Valley, but we kind of just bucket as all of Texas. Enrollment is defined as actually they took class, they actually showed up. So for that time period, Harlingen area had 8,900 out of 16,000. So it's a 56% that actually started class. Next slide, please. So demonstrating the value of the Harlingen EDC training funds. Let me define persistent rate. Persistent rate is there's an act of continuing towards the educational goal. That's what it refers to. So persistent rate from continuing from fall of last year, 2019 semester through the spring, summer of 2020. For Harlingen, our residents, we actually had a 75% of continuance. So that is a very large number. Why is that important? Because when COVID-19 impacted the world in March of April, we had many students who all of a sudden were fighting for their jobs. All of a sudden they weren't working part-time, they weren't coming to school. And so we were scrambling to say, okay, how do we help these students? How do we help especially for the ones that we could in this program? When you look at those students that were no longer able to get transportation, they no longer were able to get housing, they no longer were able to buy food, we immediately started to look at what are the ways that we can help them? Well, immediately this fund, because it had just started with us in January, we were able to launch that. And you can see the various courses where we were able to help those students. I want to read to you very quickly of a student. This is a real student story. My working hours have been cut from being full-time to barely working during COVID. I've looked for other jobs so that I'm able to continue my education at TSTC. This money has been very tight since this has started. This money would help with books, uniforms, and tuition. It would be taking tremendous amount of stress off my plate, allowing me to focus on my studies again. This fund would help me make payments and let me focus and complete my education. Thanks very much. That's just one of the many letters that we got for just the gratitude coming back to us. Next slide, please. Oh, by the way, let me just finish on the bottom there. It shows that EDC, we provided training funds for 110 students in amount of 94,000. So that averages about 855 per student that we were able to help in those particular programs. If you notice, we're very top heavy around the dental, surgical tech, and we attribute that to a lot of our students coming over from the local college, the local high school that has the health programs next to us, close by. Next slide, please. TSTC strives to place more Texans in great paying jobs. Our graduation rate during that time period, we had 53% graduate from the Harlingen area. Again, a very large number. Job placement is a particular number I wanted to find for us so that we could say, okay, how many were found working that graduated and were found working in Harlingen? We had 43%. Harlingen EDC helped 63 students reach the goal line of graduating during the May and August 2020. Congratulations, guys. That number is very high. We were able to help them get to the goal line. We anticipate graduating 47 more students between this December, May, summer, and August of 2021. Next slide. We're asking for 100,000 to restore the Goal Line Assistance Program. We want to thank you for giving TSTC the training funds to help Harlingen students get to the finish line in their education. The training fund has helped us to accomplish two of our biggest goals in this partnership: student success and community success. Again, thank you. Questions?
Well, just to let you all know, we did allocate $90,000 for the new fiscal year for this program. He's asking $100,000. We could move 10,000 from our reserve into that line item as well to make up for that difference, if you all want to do that.
Richard, did I hear you say 43 graduates that found jobs in Harlingen?
Yes, sir.
From the last two graduations?
Yes, sir. We were able to find the residents, and our career services called is on an ongoing basis asking students, where are you working? Where are you working? So we were able to pull the data out and say, okay, I asked them for the last 3 years, where are these graduates working? And so they found 43 of them are working in Harlingen.
43%.
Yes, sir.
Right.
I've got a question. So the purpose of the Goal Line Assistance, as I seem to recall, was to help with tuition, books, stuff like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So when you say Harlingen EDC provided training funds for 110 students, is that just
That's
okay? Is that just semantics here we're talking about, or?
That is correct, Mickey.
Yeah, so it's not actually training, it is for, so, and then I guess my biggest question is, what would help me understand that the program's working is, of these 110 students that we're providing this Goal Line Assistance to help them finish, how many of these 110 have finished or are going to finish?
So for as of August 2020, we had 63 finished. And so we have 47 that we're looking to have them finish in December, May, August of
And so
2021.
those 47 are still on track to finish.
Yes, sir. They're still on track. And that's part of asking for the restoring the fund, because again, they're not working. They're having difficulty. Our goal is to help them to continue to finish. But in addition to that is to find the students that are entering in the spring that also need assistance to finish. Those are and again, we're looking for those that are in their last year, in their last semester, that we see, that we call them and they'll say, well, I don't think I can come. I don't have a part-time job anymore. I can't pay my tuition. We're plucking those folks that are a Harlingen resident and qualify in that eligibility criteria that we set. And so that's what we're going to do with the funds. So we want to help the current and we want to help new ones.
And so some of the students who've already received this goal line assistance, they'll be eligible for a second round, or they only get it one time?
Well, they'll be eligible a second time, because again, COVID has really put a bind on a lot of people. And so if they meet the criteria, if they're meeting their GPA, they're meeting their course, if they're on track with their course, obviously we want to help them get to the goal line. And so they would get an additional one to help them. That is correct. Now, I'm not saying that all 47 would get one, because I don't know that number yet. I just know that there's going to be some out of that. I mean, that's just obvious. I mean, we really went through a strain this past spring. And so I see that some of the 47 will need some assistance, and then additional students that are in their last year or in their last semester would need assistance. But I got to tell you guys, there's, I actually wanted to bring something else to Rodell, and I pulled that out because I thought, okay, this we're having some success. This is an enormous amount of success we're having with this program, and I didn't want to deviate from what we're currently have success in.
I'll make a motion to approve the $100,000 request.
Very good.
Second.
Good. We've got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Richard.
Item number 3 is consider approval of candidates for the upcoming Kaufman Fast Track class. Beverly.
Yes, I'll share my screen right now. Okay, so Kaufman Fast Track, we are getting ready to start our next class. And just a reminder, in case you are new and want to know exactly what Kaufman Fast Track is every year we sponsor up to 20 applicants, sometimes a little bit more depending. And basically we partner with UTRGV to help entrepreneurs or current business owners in Harlingen learn and identify a business concept, determine the viability of their business concept, and then of course help them with the business plan so that they're ready to begin and take off with their new business. Or if they already have a business, just learn new ways to succeed and expand on what they're already doing. So this year, our fall class will begin November 3rd. It will be virtual because of COVID, and it'll go through December 15th. We did promote the application through several media channels. In addition to that, we took the help applicants, those that applied for the help loan, and we sent them the application as well, just as a way to encourage additional, help for their business in case they need new ideas. And the cost of the actual program that we would be sponsoring is $700 per student, We are recommending 11. On the executive summary, you did have 7, I believe, listed. So we did add the additional 4 applicants. And those applicants, if you wish to see, I can continue and I can show you the applications or the list of the names that we would recommend are Harlingen. They live in Harlingen or close by Harlingen and have stated that they would like to open their business in Harlingen. And so that's the reason why we recommend these particular individuals. We did have a total of 16 applicants and we're recommending 11, 2 of which would be our marketing manager, Celine Guerrero, and industrial manager, German Rico. It's always good to know the program that we are promoting and asking Harlingen entrepreneurs to be a part of. And so it's good for us to talk about it when we know about it. So we recommend Jaime San Roman Jr., Lionel Benavides, Juan Arellano, Orifiel Gomez, Fred Uribe, which Fred Uribe is one of our help applicants, Joanne McDermott, Ulises Cantu, Ricardo Rodriguez, which isn't a help applicant as well, Michelle Lopez, and then of course our 2 managers. Do you all wish to see the applicants or would you care to make a recommendation?
That's our staff recommendation is those folks. We went through them and like Beverly said, some of them had already been, some of these folks are from other communities and they were applying for the Harlingen Kaufman class. Other cities do offer the Kaufman class through UTRGV. I know that South Padre Island does it. I know that some of the other communities up in the Upper Valley do it. But really, this is mostly, we try to do it for Harlingen residents and obviously for people who say they're going to open their business in Harlingen. So these are the folks that we're recommending.
I move to approve those recommended candidates.
I second.
Thank you, Mickey and Linda. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, motion carries. So
Thank you.
carry forth, well done.
All right, item number 4 is presentation on help for small business. I will go ahead and share my screen. Just kind of going through it again. The third quarter of the last fiscal year was the first full quarter going through the pandemic. In March of 2020, that's when orders to shelter in place and shutdown occurred. Obviously, the EDC mobilized our efforts to determine the needs of the business community. By April, we had done the surveys and we knew that some people were already getting disrupted. At that time, we revamped our website to become a resource for small businesses. We increased our efforts to reach out to the local businesses through Zoom webinars and direct phone calls. And then we also came up with the idea of help for small business. And thanks to y'all and to the city, we launched in May 1st. We stopped taking applications on September 30th, and we did the last round just about a week and a half ago. We distributed a total of $489,000 from the $1 million that was set aside. This helped 52 different small businesses, which actually impacted 376, at least 376 direct jobs. Indirect jobs would be a much bigger number. And so I'm just going to talk about some of the general characteristics of the recipients. 72% of the loan recipients of those 52 were sole proprietors. A third of those recipients were in the food industry. Originally, we thought that would probably be a much bigger number. But as it was, a lot of them adapted to the shutdowns by doing curbsides or doing drive-thrus and that type of thing. A third of the recipients were in the service industries. These were the barbers, the beauticians, the massage therapists. And then 19% were what we call the local mom and pop retail shops, mostly in the downtown area, but also in other parts of the community. 13% of the recipients were in the fitness industry. Obviously, some of those are still being impacted, the gym owners, the trainers, and those type of folks. Now, when we looked at how many years people had been in business, and this is just the recipients of the loan program. 38% have been in business for less than 5 years. Half of those were in business or have been in business for a year or less. So quite a few new businesses applied. But we also had businesses that had been around for 6 to 10 years. About 23% of them had been around for 6 to 10 years. And those that have actually been around over 10 years, that was 39%. So it was fairly even in terms of the distribution of businesses and how long they had been in business. And if you look at the number of employees, and remember, we were trying to really impact the small businesses. And I think we did. For businesses that had 5 or less employees, 57% of the recipients were in that category. 6 to 10 employees, 23% of the recipients were in that category. So when you combine those, you're talking about 80% of our recipients had 10 or less employees. So did we reach out to the small businesses? Absolutely. And then 20% had more than 10 employees. And where were they located? We did this by district. And if you know the districts in our community, then districts 2, 3, and 4 are really kind of the core of the city. 5 and 1 are on the outskirts. So most of the people were not only in downtown, but in the surrounding areas around downtown. So that's pretty interesting to know that. And then, of course, these were some of the folks that were the recipients. And then finally, I just want to say that we did receive, and for those who haven't heard in our audience, an award from the Texas Economic Development Council for this particular program. It was basically the most transferable program in the state in terms of the ability for other communities to adopt this program and the guidelines that we put together. We were recognized during the annual conference for TEDC. So something that y'all should be very proud of. And I'll stop sharing the screen because that's it for that one. No action is required on that. We just want to make sure that you all were aware of some of the stats through that program, since that program has been finalized.
Congratulations, Riddell and staff. Well
Thank
done.
you all. Thank you. If I may, Mr. Chair, I'll go ahead and read through executive session, next item.
Okay, go right ahead.
Okay, item number 4, agenda item number 5, executive session pursuant to Chapter 551, Subchapter D, VTCA Government Code Section 551.072, regarding the purchase, lease, or value of real estate, if the deliberation in an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the position of the Development Corporation of Harlingen, Inc. in negotiations with a third person regarding some of the following projects and or contemplated or pending litigation or matters where legal advice is requested of the attorney on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the board under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Act, Section 551.071 of the Texas Open Meetings Act, and or executive session pursuant to Chapter 551, Subchapter D, VTCA Government Code Section 551.087 regarding commercial and financial information from business prospects with which the board is conducting economic development negotiations, and or to discuss or deliberate financial or other incentives relating to the following projects: A, Project Tyler; B, Project Spec Building 2; C, Project Strauss; D, Project Home Office; E, Project Frontline; F, Project Port 1; G, Project Counting Sheep; and H, Project Organic. We would need a motion to enter into an executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, all approved. Let's go to executive session.
All right, let me stop recording.